sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
Hi, thanks for joining us. Amour Setter here from Kukhula-Tech, and today I have prop tech entrepreneur Sean Neary with us. Welcome, Sean. Good to have you with us again.
Thank you, Amour. Thanks for having me again.
Today, Sean and I are discussing the share economy. Love it or hate it, it's here to stay, and investors are taking full advantage of the investment opportunities in the space. The sharing economy is one of the fastest growing business trends in history, with investors dumping more than 23 billion USD in venture capital funding since 2010 into startups operating with a share-based model. For example, Airbnb and Uber have a combined 103 billion USD market cap. In 2016, 44.8 million US adults used the sharing economy, and it's expected to grow to 86.5 million US users by 2021. Now, McKinsey estimates that in the US and Europe alone, 162 million people, or 20 to 30% of the workforce, are providers on sharing platforms. These are pretty staggering numbers. Now, Sean, you were one such investor who took advantage of the sharing economy, and we spoke about this in your previous interview. In a nutshell, you found yourself single again and decided to sublease parts of your living space through Airbnb, which resulted in expanding your efforts, and soon you were running a fully fledged business which earned investors up to 20% profits. And of course, you eventually successfully exited this company. What type of startups are we seeing entering this space now?
Sure. Yeah, super interesting space. And as you mentioned, the numbers are staggering. You know, I think it allows really the general people to take advantage of this economy. And we're seeing everything from peer-to-peer lending. You know, it's really disrupting everything. Peer-to-peer lending, crowdfunding, apartments and housing, Airbnb, Selena, Lifehouse, all these startups entering that sort of space. Co-working, you know, WeWork. Look at the success of WeWork, absolutely huge. Knowledge, the transfer of knowledge happening, you know, between the people rather than the big players. And I think this is really beautiful because it allows people to share what they have, and you know, it kind of democratizes this economy and takes away some market share from what I would call too big players.
Now, you're speaking about co-working and co-living spaces. Let's take the digital nomads, for example. Now, for those of you who have no idea what a digital nomad is, it's someone who does not have a permanent home, travels virtually full-time, and works online. And believe it or not, there are thousands of people doing this, ranging in ages from 18 to 80, with more and more people migrating to urban centers for work. This has created a global housing crisis. Sean, how are innovators addressing this global housing crisis?
Yeah, sure. I think, you know, this is a really pressing issue since '08. You know, after the crash in '08, we've stopped building enough housing, and therefore the scarcity has increased prices. You know, population is growing, we're getting older, older people trying to downgrade to more kind of city flats. So all of these factors are kind of changing this landscape. And as you mentioned, some people are kind of getting fed up with the 9-to-5 job or the 9-to-5 life, and they try and take a different route. And you know, with today, with us all being connected and having good internet connections pretty much anywhere today, it allows us really to do our work from anywhere we want. So we could be in Costa Rica, and you know, this is beautiful. There's a lot of startups. Two that I really like, for example, is Lifehouse Hotels. They kind of take advantage of this old hostel model, you know, that kind of gives you that experience, but mostly if you're looking for a little more comfort, you know, you're kind of forced to go directly to a hotel, which may not be really sustainable if you're doing this over a long time period. So Lifehouse Hotels, for example, build build and operate these hotels, and they use technology to kind of do it really efficiently and also offer great prices to people. They kind of take an approach where you have a bunk bed, but it's really luxurious and pretty cool. You have some shared spaces and also kind of a Starbucks kind of feel where you can work on your laptop. And another one for the more hipstery type is Selena, which is also a great startup. I think they do pretty much the same thing, but in more exotic locations such as Costa Rica, Mexico. And this is opening the doors to people that want to travel and do their work remotely.
Exactly. And considering the housing crisis in many cities like Hong Kong, for example, people are really starting to think out of the box. And they've begun creating living pods, which is basically a bed in a pod stacked on top of one another like beehives. And then, of course, your bathrooms and kitchens are shared spaces. In fact, I've even seen some of these sleeping pods at international airports, and I think they're really cool. One company who developed this very successfully, actually, is a startup in Barcelona called Heibu. You can rent such a pod for around 200 euros per month, and they have these hives in a number of destinations, including Madrid, San Francisco, and Paris. Now, the impact of the sharing economy is that traditional industries are being affected, and many traditional brands will struggle if they don't adapt to the changing landscape. And one such example is the healthcare industry. Now, the healthcare industry is expected to generate annual revenues of 8.7 trillion USD by 2020. That likely explains why venture funding for digital health startups increased by 10.2% in quarter one of 2018 compared to quarter one of 2017. And that's according to a recent report. Now, although the sharing economy has yet to really take hold in the healthcare industry, many experts suspect it to be the next frontier for collaborative consumption. Now, what areas can innovators consider looking forward to within the sharing economy, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned one, with the healthcare industry. We see platforms, especially in the service industry for healthcare, such as home care and so on, where, the freelance type home carers with the right education can offer their services through such platforms. I think another one that I'm really excited about is the knowledge transfer, kind of democratizing this. I think knowledge has not been accessible to everybody in this world, unfortunately, especially due to the high costs. And I think this will be a pretty interesting one too, once it reaches the level we see it already with the likes of Coursera and people just sharing their knowledge through channels like YouTube. And I think this is a really interesting one, because if people can kind of all get the access to the same knowledge, then we're kind of creating an playing field for everybody. So
that was PropTech entrepreneur Sean Neary. Technology has helped the sharing economy advance to where it is today, and the trend should only continue as we become more connected digitally. While we've seen how dominant collaborative consumption can be in industries like transportation, consumer goods, and services, many other traditional sectors will soon experience changes because of the sharing economy. Sean Neary will be joining us at the Black Forest Tech Investment Symposium happening on the 12th and 13th of September in Gotha, Germany, where he'll be moderating a panel discussion on PropTech. Thanks for tuning in to Kukhula-Tech Talk, and see you next time.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.